Hello again. Shorter video this time. So I've got a giveaway project that I am finishing up putting together for another recipient. Praise Jesus. And it's an interesting one. It started from a kind of difficult challenge for me. So I had this recipient contact me on Facebook, as they all do, and request that I give them a computer. That's fine. I do it all the time. This one's tricky because they need it for school, and they're in architecture and engineering, and the school that they go to insists they must use the newest version of AutoCAD, which is kind of a heavy task, especially for me, being that I'm working with e-waste hardware, and that typically means hardware around 15 years old. And most of the system requirements aren't too bad. They ask for 2 gigabytes of VRAM, they ask for DirectX 11 support, DirectX 12 is recommended, they ask for 8 gigabytes of RAM minimum, 16 or higher is preferred. The problem is the CPU. Even on the lowest settings, they insist you have an 8-core processor. And that is very difficult to find on a very tight budget like I work with here. Luckily, there is a solution, and for those of you out there who maybe see this video and are wondering, this is probably the cheapest you can ever put together a system that could theoretically, according to AutoCAD, meet the minimum system requirements. We're running 16 gigabytes of RAM, all DDR2, in 8 channels, because this is running 2 quad-core Xeon processors. This is a Mac Pro 2,1 from 2007, so at the time of filming, nearly 20 years old. And yet, because of those 2 processors, and because AutoCAD can use both processors, you're looking at 8 cores, actual cores in total, 16 gigabytes of actual memory, and in this case, I put a GTX 750 Ti, which is 2 gigabytes of VRAM and DirectX 12 support, pretty much the cheapest thing you can find that will do that. And I have the old GPU in there so you can still access the boot picker screen and some other stuff. I've got a 120 gigabyte SSD in here and then a 1 terabyte mechanical drive, and it's currently running Windows 10. And that's pretty much as old as you can go, most likely, and still just barely eke out compatibility for that stuff, which is huge. And praise the Lord, I have the opportunity to be able to do this. I have the skills and the knowledge to be able to pull something like this off. This was just handed to me along with a bunch of other Mac computers, and I realized very quickly I could just about make this work. And then today, someone handed me that graphics card and made this whole thing possible. So I spent literally no money on this, which is incredible because I don't have the funds to do this stuff. And this just goes to show you guys that with God, all things are possible. Jesus is real.